This is about the Taker. Do you know, sir, that this is the first time that you've appeared on British television since 1994, which was on a youth program, a kids show called Going Live, which was pretty iconic in the day. Mate, where have you been?
I don't know. I must have been a huge hit, I guess. If it took that long to get me back, I must have really got over.
Well, today, as we know, we're talking about your swan song this weekend, which will be hugely lamented by fans. But it's bittersweet though it is. This is a celebration. I mean, what a phenomenal run you have had. How does it feel?
It's really surreal that we're talking 30 years, 3 decades. In one instance, it's flown by so fast. But then there's the morning when I wake up and put those, my feet on the floor for the first time in the morning, and I feel every year of those 30 years in my body. But it really has gone by in such a flash. And, when you look back at all of the people that I've, had the privilege of being in the ring with, and then all the people around the world that I've got to meet and see live, it's just crazy. I've been crazy blessed with being able to do something that I love, that I'm extremely passionate about. And, it is very bittersweet. And to be completely honest, I would do it forever, but the body is just saying, let's go ahead and pump the brakes, big fella, because it's time to slow it down. But I just love this business and everything that goes with it.
Well, I can appreciate that. I had my my one and only taste of it in the US out in New Orleans a couple of years ago, and went out on a flight that was just packed full of British fans.
Right.
It was phenomenal. And I can only imagine the hole that's going to leave in your life, because that connection with those fans is, clearly it's not going to go away just because you've stepped out of the ring. But for me, I was absolutely blown away by just how huge this all was and how fated you guys were. I mean, it's incredible.
It really is. I mean, to have the following and we have a huge following in the UK and basically all over the world now. But Wrestle Mania, you get people from, I don't know, my gosh, 25, 30 countries around the world. They come in for Mania, and they come to have a good time. And that helps us so much, because we feed, obviously outside of COVID times, we feed off of that energy that the fans bring. And there's been many a night that my body was saying no, but the 75, 80,000 people out in the stadium were going, yeah. And it just motivates you enough to get out there and do what you can do. And it is going to leave a huge void in my life. And like I said, it's something I'm so passionate about, but it'll also be nice to be able to make up time with my family, and because they've had to make huge sacrifices for me to do this. And I won't be in the ring, but I'll be around, so we'll see what happens.
What you mentioned that was it tough being on the road at times, away from your family?
Yeah, that's a lot. A lot of people don't realize how, especially way back in the day, like, and when you mentioned 94, I mean, there were times where I would be out there. I think I had an 8 or 9 year stretch there where I averaged 250, 270 dates a year, just on the road, and sometimes 30, 45 days in a row, I would be out. And, at that time, you just really think about it. It's your normal. But, when you sit back now at this point in my career and reflect, you're like, man, you were gone a lot. And so, I mean, there are things that you miss out on, but, you can't you can't look back, and it was my passion. It's what I wanted to do with my life. And, so you have to go for it. That window doesn't stay open long, and you have to go, you have to take advantage when you can.
Yeah, you're right. You echo the sentiments of all the wrestlers and stuff that I've interviewed over the years, certainly in the last recent years, when I finally got sucked into this glorious gladiatorial theater that you guys present to us. You talk about the fans and this incredible winning streak that you've had, the streak, in fact, as they call it. Was it the fans that drove you through that, you think? Was that your oxygen? Was that the power that kept you going? Because it's unrivaled.
Well, it did. We didn't even really understand that the streak was even going on until it became like 10-0. I was 10-0, and someone mentioned, is like, do you know you've never lost at WrestleMania? And then it kind of took on a life of its own. And, and then regardless of who was in the main event, or, the streak, and me defending the streak was a vital part of WrestleMania. And then, there are many who say often that my match and defending the streak was, it was kind of more important than whoever was in the main event. And so, just another thing that I was blessed with and to be part of. And the streak is what, the streak, I think, is kind of what allowed me here in the latter part of my career to work and then kind of go heal up and fix whatever was bothering me, and then get back in shape again and turn to come around for the next WrestleMania, defend the streak. And then, so it did. It became really important that that I made it to WrestleMania. And, it was a heck of a run.
Oh, heck of a run indeed. Yeah, it's your characters, obviously, and we all have our favorites. Yeah, clearly you're way up there. Where does the personality come from? Where did you draw the Taker from? Some dark place inside?
Well, funny enough that the original name, the likeness, and everything was Vince McMahon's brainchild. He had this character envisioned in his mind, and then I went up and interviewed, trying to get hired by it was the WWF back then, the WWE, and I don't know what it was, but it clicked with him, and he says, "All right, you're my Undertaker." Now, I had no idea what that meant, other than, okay, well, it's kind of a cool name, the Undertaker, So then I just started studying, right, and trying to envision, okay, this is kind of what Vince has envisioned, and this is kind of what I'm thinking this character is going to be. And so I would study all the great, the great horror villains, the Michael Myers from the Halloween movies, and Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th movies, and even to an extent for, kind of that sick kind of humor kind of deal, even Freddy Krueger from, Nightmare on Elm Street, those kind of things. And then just as much dark material as I could find to kind of start to mold this guy to what I thought, and it just resonated with me in a way that it became second nature. And then on top of that, you put the pallbearer with me, for all those years, who was a actual licensed mortician. That's how crazy that this thing was destined to be. When you have a licensed mortician, a degree in mortuary science, and you're going to be my manager. I mean, it was destined to be. And
yeah, destined to be. I think our makeup artists at Good Morning Britain are actually licensed morticians, because they are doomed to wake up the dead every morning when we get up about 4 o'clock, mate, and sometimes even earlier. Tell me, I mean, with a character like that, surely at home you put your feet up and just watch musicals, don't you?
Oh, Sound of Music? Oh, all day long. Yeah, not so much. Coming home wasn't wasn't that glamorous, and nor was the life early on too. You come home, you drop your laundry off, and you get that done. You repack your bags, and you just kind of sit around. You sit around for a couple of days, like, is it time to go to the airport yet? Because your mind and your body is just conditioned to go, 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 go. And downtime was the worst. That's how guys got in trouble on downtime. It was like, what do I do with myself? I'm supposed, my adrenaline level right now is supposed to be about here. And, I'm sitting here trying to watch, I'm trying to watch something with the kids. And it's just like your mind is constantly like, well, I wonder what so-and-so's doing. I wonder what he's doing to make himself better. I maybe I ought to go work out, or it's just, early on when you're trying to come up that ladder, there's really, it's a full-time job.
Full-time job for 30 years and then some, my friend. What about the other ring personas? Is there anyone in particular that you admire from that circuit, that family that you've made over the last 3 decades?
Yeah, I mean, character-wise, obviously, Mick Foley was an awesome character. Visually, you had guys like Papa Shango. Those are all in that. Kane, obviously Kane, my brother from a different mother. His character was really well done, and that's one of the things I really appreciate, is being able to not only be able to physically perform in the ring, but also have that character and have people invested in the character. That's how you sustain yourself. You can be the greatest wrestler that ever come down the pipe. That doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. You have to be able to identify with your audience and click on an emotional level. They have to see something in you. One, they either got to go, that's my guy, or I want to see my guy kick that guy's tail. And, so you have to resonate some way with your audience. And, all those guys I mentioned were great at it.
When I went over to New Orleans, they put me in a cape and a pair of tights or pantyhose or whatever you call them over there. And they called me Dickie. Well, you know what I mean. We'll leave that in the edit. So they put me in a cape, right? They put me in the skinniest of trousers, if you will. And they dubbed me Dickie the Destroyer. And put it this way, I was all sizzle and no sausage. If I'm going to make that leap into the ring, have you got any advice for me, sir, after 30 years in the business?
What was it, Dickie the Destroyer, or was it Tricky Dickie?
Tricky Dickie. Well, we could go with Tricky Dickie. I've been called a lot worse, mate. Dickie the Destroyer.
Dickie the Destroyer. Well, first off, who worked with you? Who worked with you on coming up with your name here?
Oh, they're never going to work again. I can tell you that much.
Well, not in the creative aspect of it, anyway. You gotta hit something. When you put your character together, you have to hit on something that one feels comfortable to you. You can watch a lot of, now that you're kind of engrossed in what we do, you can watch things and go, yeah, I don't buy it, because you see somebody trying to be something that they're not. And then there's other guys who you're like, yeah, that dude's messed up. Yep. And you buy it. So you got to kind of tap in. You got to tap in on something that's inside of you already. And it's just kind of an extenuation of, that inner personality that you kind of suppress. But I don't know, maybe Tricky, maybe the Destroyer may be your game. I don't know.
So maybe what you're saying is I need to dig deep into the persona that I can't possibly broadcast early in the morning on breakfast television and bring out my nighttime Dickie. Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, bring your nighttime Dickie. There you go.
That's it.
Now we're getting on the same page.
Thank you, buddy. Of course, you'll know this. I work very closely with Piers Morgan. Who's really just a big marshmallow at heart, albeit with a steel center, I suppose, or possibly the reverse. It's never a dull moment working with him. would you invite him into the ring? Will you give me some trash talk? I want you to talk directly to Piers now and tell him that when you step back into the ring, you're going to take on the Morganator.
I tell you what, I don't have any aspirations of getting back in the ring, but if Piers wants to get in a squared circle, he might be just the one that might get me back in the ring. The Morganator, man, he's big time over here on American TV. With his strong English accent, and he lets people have it over here. I tell you what, that might be a good matchup for me. I might have to reconsider my my final farewell if Piers would agree to putting on the pantyhose and or what you call them. Is that what you called it? The pantyhose?
Yeah, the pantyhose. Brilliant. That is perfect. Very quickly, I've got a few more questions for you. So you've been absolutely compelling. It's great. And also you've been company for me during lockdown, working from home, of course, away from the studio. So would you do me a favor and congratulate Piers and Susanna on presenting together for 5 years on Good Morning Britain?
That's a huge congratulations to Piers and Susanna. I mean, what an accomplishment. 5 years in the entertainment industry doing anything is a huge, huge accomplishment. And that's just a testament to their ability and their success and their passion for what they do. And so a huge congratulations to those guys.
You've obviously never met them. Right. So we go. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I've got to ask you, where does you talk about this? I know what age you are, and you look very well on it. And this 30-year, as I say, tenure that you've had in the ring, unrivaled, just magnificent, bittersweet, as we said, though it is going to be when it ends on Sunday. Where does it hurt most, Taker? Where does it hurt most?
The physical aspect of it. It's kind of dispersed between my neck, my back, and my knees at this point. I've already had both of my hips surgically. They're called hip resurfacings. Actually, I think Andy Murray, legendary tennis players, had the same surgery, and it's allowed him, to stay active and keep playing some. So I've got metal in my hips already. The knees are probably next. Just trying to keep mobility and keep, there's an old adage that motion is lotion. And so I got to keep moving regardless of how I feel. And I wouldn't change a thing in how I did it. And maybe took a little better care of myself early on in my career, but I've earned all this and I'm proud of it, and I wouldn't have changed a thing.
And the fans wouldn't have it any other way. Finally then, sir, before I let you go, they're in Texas, one of my favorite places in the world. What can we expect this weekend?
You know what? WWE's been kind of tight-lipped on this, and even to me, so it kind of makes me worry a little bit, because no one enjoys a practical joke or more so than Vince McMahon, especially when it's played on The Undertaker. So I have no idea what is in store for me for Sunday. I do want to get out there and be able to address my fans and let them know, how much it's meant to me to be able to, for the last 30 years, go out there and be the Undertaker for them. Reassure them I'm not going away altogether, but my days in the ring are obviously limited, but and hopefully I'll get a chance to see some of my colleagues from past years and share a moment or a story or two with those guys. But hopefully it'll be a celebration, and I won't get too caught up in the what I'm really feeling on the inside, because I think with it being our audience being on monitors, and I think I'll be able to get through it a little easier that way than if I had to actually look out into an ocean of people and make eye contact. I might have killed off the Undertaker character for good. A crying Undertaker is not what the world wants to see.
You're a legend, sir. And on behalf of all your fans here in the UK, you'll feel that ocean of love through the miracle of modern technology. I'm sure you will, sir, when you step into the ring this weekend. Thank you so much for taking the time, mate. Give my love to Texas.
I will. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it. Hopefully it won't take another 20 years to get me back.
No, listen, I'm on. As soon as we get a travel corridor, I am coming back. I cannot wait. So God bless you, mate. Take care.
Thank you, sir.